I'm reading from Matthew 2, 1 to 12. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star in the east and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler, who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly called for the Magi and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child. And when you have found him, bring me word, so that I may also go and pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen in the east, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. This is the word of the Lord.
Good evening. Is this on? Yep, awesome. It was the summer of 1987. I lay on our foam bed in our family's 1980s beige Bon Air tent trailer with that beige canvas overhead. I slipped a borrowed cassette into my Walkman, I'm that old, and I pressed play. The sound that I heard was from the future. It was like nothing of 80s pop. Electronic synthesizers, drum machines, and overproduced vocals were replaced by haunting echoes, raw drums, and a bass pulling the songs forward. Shallow lyrics with catchy choruses were replaced by layered lyrics and textured sounds, painting abstract images in my mind like Van Gogh. The sound that I heard from those cheap foam headphones were of 4 men, not 3 magi, journeying through their own wilderness, the Mojave Desert. The sound I heard was U2 from the Joshua Tree. What I heard that day so enraptured me that I listened to side 1, and then we had to flip over to side 2, and then I flipped back to side 1 and side 2 again, listening to the album 2 times in a row, straight through. Now this may sound overly dramatic, but U2 became the soundtrack of my life that day. In their lyrics and sonic creations, they articulated for me the ache and the awe, the pain and the joy, the doubt and the belief, the complexities and the contradictions of faith. And yes, I have been mocked mightily for my diehardness of this band. And because of it, I have mostly avoided obvious references to them in my sermons. I have slipped them in, and none of you have ever noticed. It's a gift for all of us to find soul music, music that speaks deep within us and resonates in a unique way with us. Some of us find it in hymns and contemporary worship music or old-time gospel, others in classical and jazz, and some even find their soul music in country and western and Jimmy Buffett. With God, there is nothing impossible. For reference, Ryan over there is a big Jimmy Buffett fan. He's probably gone to more Jimmy Buffett concerts than I have U2 concerts. If there is a common thread that weaves U2's music, it is their quest for God, Their constant longing and striving and yearning for meaning and connection with the transcendent. They have given voice to my own journey of faith, the mountains and the valleys and all the roads in between. The search for God is something that we all have in common with the Magi of our story. It's the quest for meaning and purpose of life. It's the pursuit of the transcendent, the divine. It's that yearning to feel a part of some big story that is beyond us, that can guide our life and direct us in where we go. Our spiritual quest is about seeking a connection with God and encountering the divine love that we have just sung about. We wouldn't be here if we weren't looking for something. And for each of us, this journey looks a little bit different. Our spiritual paths have their own terrain, different traveling companions, unique stars taking us in different directions, and signs and visions and dreams meant only for us. It would be much easier if the journey to find God was just all the same. We could just draw a map, write a book, and there you go, 5 steps to find God. But there is something so beautiful about these quests of ours being our own. It reminds us that God wants to know us and be known by us personally and uniquely. The differing paths to God keep the mystery of God alive. Now, despite these different journeys that we all have, there are some common elements or themes that are part of all of our journeys of faith. And tonight, I want to weave some of these common elements, and they are not an extensive list, but I want to weave those elements together with the journey of the Magi and the song, I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For, by U2, from that album. Number 2, by the way. I have climbed the highest mountains. I have run through the fields. I have run through the fields only to be with you, only to be with you. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem asking, "Where is this child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star in the east and have come to pay him homage." Given that our story actually begins in Jerusalem, we make a lot of assumptions when retelling the story. Our imaginations need to fill in the blanks onto how they got to where they did. We assume that the Magi had to leave home because all journeys begin with departure. This is me at age 23 with an unfortunate goatee. This photo was taken moments before I drove away from our family home at the age of 23. My cheap white Ford Tempo was loaded full, my U-Haul behind, and you can see my bikes as well. My next stop was Vineland, Ontario, where I would begin my first career as youth pastor. Oh, and yes, that is my longtime friend, Snowball. I named her when she was 5, okay. I knew Snowball for like 20 years of my life. Departure is about letting go, leaving something or some people behind. It's loss. It's a moment of surrender. How often in life do we have to release something, let something go in order to experience or gain something new? This is what Jesus meant when in Matthew 10 he said, "Those who lose their life for my sake will find it." Jesus said these words to the disciples as he was sending them out to share the good news and talk about the kingdom of God. He was saying these words at their own departure. What we let go of in our spiritual journeys is different for each of us. For me, it has meant physically moving provinces a number of times, leaving family, leaving friends, leaving jobs that I have enjoyed. Even now, I feel myself in a season of leaving as I leave CMU go work at MDS. But it's also meant letting go of my perfectionism, my self-critique, and my insecurities. And if you ask my family, you'll know that I'm still working on all of these. But what have you left behind or had to depart from? Friendships? A way of life? A system of beliefs or understanding of the Bible? Wealth, achievement, a church? An understanding of yourself? A dream? A need for certainty? Your ego, an addiction? High expectations of others or yourself? Just take a moment and think about, what have you had to let go of and depart from? These moments can feel a lot like death, because what we let go of, even if it's an unhealthy addiction, has been our companion. It's what we know, it's our support, it's integral to our identity. It's our place of safety. It's releasing part of who we are without knowing what is going to replace that hole. I have run and I have crawled. I have scaled these city walls only to be with you. Leaving home is hard, and the wilderness that follows isn't any easier. There is a lot of crawling. The second assumption we make about the Magi's quest is that they journeyed across a vast wilderness. Most biblical scholars believe this would be like walking from current-day Baghdad to Jerusalem, a 1,000-kilometer journey in a wilderness like this without the Joshua trees. This journey would test anyone's resolve, especially without no roadside stops or motorized vehicles or air conditioning. I wonder how often the Magi turned back to the east from where they came and what they left behind and wondered, have we made the right choice? Israel spent 40 years wandering the wilderness, having left Egypt and on the way to the Promised Land. And in those many years, there was a lot of complaining and lots of doubting in Moses and God's leadership. And they were frequently looking back towards Egypt and saying things like, well, we may have been slaves there, but at least we had our fill of bread. The wilderness is a place of doubt, of questioning the reason and the motivation of our departure. It's a bit of a temptation to look back at what we left behind and think to ourselves, life wasn't so bad over there, was it? In his book, Faith After Doubt by Brian McLaren, he outlines the 4 stages of faith. And doubt is the necessary impetus to move from stage to stage. In his view, doubt is not the enemy of faith, but a gift to faith. This is one of those contradictions of our faith journeys. Because on one hand, doubt can feel like a crisis, a descent into darkness, a death, a betrayal of how we've lived or what we've believed. And yet, on the other hand, McLaren suggests that doubt is the doorway and a place of growth. The struggle and working through the questions and doubts of life in those wildernesses can lead us to new experiences and understandings of God. Indeed, uncertainty can be a guiding light. As much as departure requires faith and trust, the wilderness of doubt requires courage and perseverance. I have kissed honey lips, felt the healing in her fingertips. It burned like fire, this burning desire. I've spoke with the tongue of angels. I have held the hand on the devil. It was warm in the night, but I was cold as a stone. The Magi's detour into Jerusalem suggests another element of our spiritual quest. They probably believed that they would find this God child among the powerful, the religious, and the rich. A king of the Jews must be born in the capital of the Jews, Jerusalem, of course. Such a special birth needed a special place. The spiritual seeker of this song searches in places far away from God, for God, searches in a relationship of some kind, and also tries to hold the hand of the devil. It was warm in the night, but I was cold as a stone. Perhaps this is an allusion to Jesus' own temptations in the wilderness. Spiritual quests are not a straight line. There are often detours, side roads, and tangents that take us, tempting us, trying to pull us away from that journey, offering fulfillment, love, connection. Whether it be money or a job or education, a special relationship, sex, belief, a unique experience, all these things pull us away off the road. Like Odysseus, we are lured from our faith journey by many sirens. Road signs pique our curiosity and lead us to off-ramps. U2 captured this in a very visual contradiction. The video, the official video for this song, I still haven't found what I'm looking for, is the band singing the song about searching for God, walking the streets of Sin City, Las Vegas. The colors of temptation that promise instant fulfillment. A future U2 song began with the lyrics, looking for to save my soul, looking in the place where no flowers grow, looking to fill that God-shaped hole. The temptations of our journey pull us off course as we look in dark places where flowers don't grow. I believe in the kingdom come. Then all the colors will bleed into one, but yes, I'm still running. When the Magi saw the star had stopped, they were overjoyed. I don't think that our translation actually captures the depth of their emotion. This is a better translation, more from the Greek. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. That has more punch to it. After departure, after the doubts, after many temptations, they found the Christ child. After all those miles, all the sacrifices, the toll that it took on their bodies, on their souls, on the relationships with one another, they found what they were looking for. No wonder there was so much joy. This long journey had exacted a toll, had tempered their egos and their pride and their self-reliance. With each step, they were humbled a little bit more until it brought them literally, as it says in the Bible, to their knees at the front foot of Jesus. If you want to kiss the sky, you better learn how to kneel. Indeed, their odyssey taught them a key thing about every faith journey, and that is humility. The spiritual journey and finding God will always be marked by humbleness. I believe in the kingdom come, then all the colors will bleed into one. Returning to that book I made reference to earlier, Faith After Doubt by Brian McLaren, in it he speaks about the final stage of faith as harmony. Poets, songwriters, artists, and mystics have all tried to articulate what this moment in life, in faith, is. Words like union, oneness, wholeness, non-duality, connection are used to describe what harmony is. Jesus' very being, as part God and part human, was the unitive way of being that he called all of us to. His life of putting those two parts of himself together is a roadmap, and it tells us that it is potential for all of us too. Inclusion, is the signpost of this part of our faith journey. It is part of harmony. It's where opposites meet, judgment ceases, and a deep sense of interconnectedness when all the colors will bleed into one. Now, this may sound kind of mystical and mysterious and kind of out there, but I know it to be real. And I bet that there's other people in this room who know it to be real. In July of 1997, on a walk through this very Assiniboine forest, I had one of those harmony moments. I almost described it, and it sounds weird, as an out-of-body experience. I felt deeply connected to God, completely known, completely loved by God. And there was a little bit of uncertainty in my life about where my life was going. And I had this deep sense of peace that God had been with me to that point, and God was going to take me on. I felt the oneness that I had never felt before, not just with myself and with God, but with all of creation. Richard Rohr writes that this stage is associated mostly with the second half of life, after experience has brought us to a new place of innocence. While this harmony with God and all things tends to happen after many miles and many experiences in life, we get glimpses of it, like I did in 1997. It's these glimpses that keep us still running, keep us searching and yearning for that deeper connection with God. You broke the bonds and you loosed the chains. You carried the cross of my shame, of my shame. You know I believe it, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. The Magi are guided by a vision to return home by another road, to avoid Herod and Jerusalem altogether. And that is what happens when we have moments of harmony. When we meet God, we are transformed, and the road ahead looks different. I heard a podcast this week from Richard Rohr, and in it he talked about these moments of meeting God in transformative moments, and they happen because of two things, either great suffering or great love. And I can only imagine that the Magi had both, great suffering through the wilderness and great love when they finally knelt down at the feet of Jesus. The song fades at the end with the repeating line, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Our quest continues as we seek out greater understanding and connection and depths with our Creator. There will be more departures of life. There will be more letting go and more doubts and more temptations, and indeed, more findings. While the official launch of our new worship series is next week, this is kind of a soft launch. Our series is entitled Becoming, and indeed, our whole journey of faith, our spiritual sojourning, is one of becoming. Becoming who we are created to be, one with God. It's that image in Genesis of God walking in the garden with Adam and Eve, and that image is at the end in the book of Revelation, where the New Jerusalem is coming down with God to be with his people. Wherever you are in your journey of faith, may God meet you. And in that meeting, may you continue to seek out and find greater depths of God's love and presence in your lives. Amen.